Welcome, everybody, to the April 27th, 2018 edition of the Ephrom Josine Show. I'm your host, Ephrom Josine. Since I was unable to get a show out for you guys last week on Tuesday, I figured I'd just do one on this week Friday. That's how it's going to work from now on, by the way. If I miss a show, I'll just make it up that Friday. But anyway, so I woke up this morning, and I, like all young people, decided to check my Twitter because I'm hippin' with it. And I went to my personal favorite conservative Twitter account, Educating Liberals. I talked about him yesterday. He's my favorite. He's up there for the same reason Matt Walsh is up there. He's just insane. He's proud he's insane. Except Walsh actually also has kind of philosophy. He has some facts on his side. Educating Liberals just makes things up. He just factually makes things up from time to time. And I'll point out when he does it, but this is one I was just so shocked to see. Here's what he said. President Trump actually deserves, another similarity with him and Matt Walsh, they just love to capitalize, or in Walsh's case, bold random words. The Nobel Peace Prize for ending the Korean War, unlike Obama, who was awarded it for no reason. I actually do agree Obama didn't deserve his Nobel Peace Prize. So, you know what? We agree there. However, you heard it here. President Trump has ended the Korean War. Even though it ended in 1953. But you see, President Trump actually built a time machine, okay? And he went back to 1953 to meet with President Eisenhower and personally end it. Or maybe he ended it when he was roughly about 10 years old. Who knows? But Ephrom, I hear the Make America Great Againers scream from the top. You're being dismissive. Donald Trump actually got the North and South Korean leaders to meet with each other, ending a long conflict. Well, they already did that a few times. When Kim Jong-il was supreme leader of North Korea, the North and South Koreans met on several occasions and had peace deals from time to time. And then they were broken because North Koreans don't keep promises. I can't believe I have to remind people that. These are not trusted allies. They weren't the last 18 times they pulled this stunt. They certainly aren't now. Why do you think that we need to keep American troops on the border of North and South Korea? Because they know that if they get one of them, there's going to be a war. And that's just there. These people only put things in a vacuum. That's what bothers me about Donald Trump supporters. It's not that I think they're racist or something, although some of them definitely are. It's that they put things in vacuums and do not think about the giant action. We're going to build a giant wall around Mexico. That won't harm trade relations at all. Just off the very top of my head, we're going to cut taxes. It won't cause a recession. You know, we're going to bomb ISIS. We're just going to bomb them. Just bomb them non-stop. Donald Trump's increased drone strikes by, I think, over 100%. Probably over 200 or 300%. I forget the exact numbers. I think the exact number is something like over 800%. That won't cause radicalization at all. That won't cause more destabilization. We're going to get rid of Assad. That won't destabilize the regime like it did with Saddam and Gaddafi. And it won't give ISIS more control because, may I remind you people, Assad is fighting ISIS. Durr. Now here's some news about our Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo. This is from TYT Investigates. Quote, Pompeo has come under fire for remarks about Muslims. Now disclosed documents reviewed by TYT also show that Pompeo once met with an Israel official, because of course he did, he's a Zionist, who was later honored by a group so extreme it was labeled a hate group. Well, that's just impossible. I mean, they were Israel supporters. As we all know, Israel supporters are peaceful people. You know, when the IDF is going in, bombing innocent Palestinians. In addition, Pompeo's handling of the U.S. Embassy move to Jerusalem could be complicit by his apparent belief in the rapture. A June 2015 videotape unearthed by Slate shows Pompeo referring to politics as an ongoing struggle, quote, until the rapture. Evangelical rapture theology typically includes a belief that for Jesus to return, Jerusalem must be Israel's capital, and the world's Jews must return there. Jews who do not then convert to Christianity will be destroyed in the end times. But I thought the Zionists, or the anti-Zionists, were all anti-Semites. Now the Zionists are sitting there saying, yeah, Jews are just going to be killed. And that's what we want. That's why we want them to have, so that it's easier to kill them. You know, I hear the easiest place to kill them is when you put them all into a camp. I do not support that, for the record. Okay. But yeah, our Secretary of State is trying to get the rapture to happen, which, if you ignore the fact that more than likely violates separation of church and state, trying to actually mandate the rapture happens and all the good Christians fly up into heaven and Jesus comes back and he fights with Satan and those ungodly sinners and they all die and go to hell or something. What? None of that made any sense. And none of that should have made any sense, because that's nonsense. And these are the people who influence foreign policy. These are the people who... He's the head of the CIA, or was the head of the CIA, now he's Secretary of State. And he's an evangelicalistic Christian lunatic. Mike Pence says God talks to him, and he's betraying God's wishes, although he also says he's living out Rush Limbaugh's principles. I'm not kidding, he actually said that on Rush Limbaugh's show. Just, oh my God. Oh my God. Okay, this next story, I was debating whether or not to cover this one next, or Shapiro's awful attempt to debunk Bernie Sanders' jobs program, but with Shapiro, I already debunked the points before, so I'm not even going to bother with this one. Here's something. Prager You files appeal in censorship case against YouTube, in case you don't know what happened. Dennis Prager is essentially the right wing's biggest snowflake, okay? And he is currently melting. And I mean extreme, he's screaming at the sky level melting. You know that girl in that video, she was like protesting Donald Trump, she was just screaming at the sky, just, ah! And all the Republicans shared, it's like, this is what the left is like. Well, Dennis is doing that internally. He's just sitting there, I can't, like, oh no, the left, ah! He's been doing that for a while now. We covered this earlier this week. I think it might have been yesterday, actually. When we talked about how he was essentially, saying that the New York Times did not put him on its bestseller list because they're biased against him. Truth is, they put him on his bestseller list before. It's just his book is not a bestseller. Unless you look at this extremely narrow audience. Typically, if you just narrow it down to books by Dennis Prager or books written by delusional conservatives, I guess then it may have had a little bit more of an appeal. And he also filed a case against Google a while ago, and that was because apparently Google was censoring him, and it wasn't even that they weren't letting him put ads on Prager You, because Prager You typically does not have ads. What it was is they weren't letting him use Prager You as ads, as in they didn't want ads to be placed on other people's videos that were Prager University videos, which is good because Prager You is nothing more than that as this propaganda network going around pretending to be a university. It's the university equivalent of Fox News. It's a university the same way Liberty University is a university, although at least at Liberty University there are actual degrees you can get. I don't know what degree I can get in Prager U, besides how to be a partisan. Um, but now Dennis is going around saying, we will continue, and he just filed an appeal of that case when his case was rejected, which it should have been because his case was ridiculous. And I mean ridiculous. It's the equivalent if I create a group, we'll just say I create a group, Satan worshippers for abortion. We go around and promote Satan worship and abortions. And I go on to Dennis Prager's show and say, you have to promote me. I am, to use the right's own terminology, putting a gun to his head and forcing him to promote me. And he says, no, I don't want to. Well, I can sue them according to this case. Because he violated my free speech rights to go onto his property and start screaming nonsense. I think Drill had a good tweet in response to this. It's like, my Patreon has grown up like $8 grand since I called a waiter at a restaurant a homo and became a free speech guru. That's what these people are. I called a liberal racist, even though leftists just use identity politics. I'm a free speech guru. You're a snowflake. That's what I'm calling you from now on. You are Snowflake Prager. And you and all your corrupt media friends, all you right-wingers, you are going busy praising Lord Rupert Murdoch. Just, please, Murdoch, tell us how to be individuals. Please, Snowflake Prager, tell us how to be individuals. Please, Daily Wire, tell us how to be individuals. This is getting really incoherent, so I'm going to stop now. I'm Ephrom, and good night.